Guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this little boy's two-piece suit that has a mixture of Akara and plain patterned fabric. So this is a very simple tutorial. We're going to start with the shirt. So this here will take you about less than one yard for the pattern, and then like a little bit of fabric for just the plain color, depending on the size you're making it for. So as you can see, this is just a leftover fabric that I have that I'm working with, and then I'm going to take some piece of my Akara here. So now what we are going to do is to start with the length. So you're going to measure the child from their shoulder to where you want this shirt to end. As you can see how this one ends here, so it depends on you the length you want this one to end. So I'm using 18.5 here. I added 19 inches. So you are going to add 1.5 to it for the length. So 19 is going to be the length of the shirt. By the way, this is for a 5-year-old. So I'm going to add 1.5 to it. So as you can see, I have about almost 21. So the next thing you're going to do is to insert their shoulder measurement. So the shoulder I'm working with is 12, and then I'm going to put it here. Divided by 2 is going to be 6. So guys, you first have to trace this on a pattern paper before you cut it directly on the fabric. So you can just use one piece of pattern paper. You can use a pattern paper that is folded into 2. So after that, you're going to insert the armhole. The armhole I'm working with is 14 inches. So you're going to come down here first and mark about half an inch, and then for their shoulder slope, and then you're going to insert the armhole divided by 2 for me, which is going to be 14 divided by 2 is 7. So now I'm going to mark a line connecting this to this top part here, and then also a line going towards this side. And then on this same line here, I'm going to insert his chest measurement, which is 22 divided by 4 is going to be. So guys, I'm going to add extra 1 inch of seam allowance and 1 inch of ease. So that's going to be about 7.5 is what I'm going to be using here for the chest. And then because you never want their clothes too tight, so this same measurement I insert here, this 7.5, I'm also going to bring it down to the end of the shirt, down here. And then with a straight line, I'm going to connect this to the end. So guys, at this point, I'm going to give it a curve for the armhole here. And then after that, the next thing you're going to do is just to come in here and mark the neckline. So I'm just going to start with the back neckline first, because I'm going to cut off the back first. Mark 1 inch down here, and then I'm going to insert about 2.5 inch of neckline here, and then I'm going to connect this shoulder slope to this point. If I was making this for less than like 4 years old to 3 years old, I might use just 2 inches of neck width here, but since this is like 5 years old, I'm going to increase it to 2.5. So 2.5 inches of width is what I'm using here. So I'm going to connect it to this 1 inch here. So now guys, I've cut out my back panel. So I'm going to trace this out now, cut this part, cut the shoulder slope, cut this here all the way down. After cutting this out now, then I can change it to my front panel. So guys, this is what I'm going to be using for the back panel. But before that, let me also trace out the armhole for the front panel. So halfway through this 7 inches or whatever your sleeve length, this armhole length is, for me it's 7 here. So half of 7 is going to be 3.5. In this 3.5 line, I'm going to just go in here by half an inch and then connect it with a straight line all the way up and with a curve below. But I'm not going to cut this out until after tracing it. So now I'm going to fold my fabric into 2 and trace out the back panel. So guys, now that I've folded this fabric into 2, you see guys, if you look at this thing now, it depends on you what you want to do. You can use this plain color for the back of your cloth, and you can use Akara for the back of your clothes. Remember, we are cutting the back pattern first. So like I said, if you want at this point now that you folded the fabric into 2 and you want to use just the whole Akara for the back, all you have to do is just to take it the way it is now on this here and just trace this whole thing out as your back panel, if you don't want the color to be split into the back. So now, but I want mine to be the same as the front, so the color is going to be the same, 2 colors at the back, 2 colors in front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here. It depends on you what you want to use. I'm going to do, since this cuts into the armhole and my armhole cuts at 7, I'm going to do like 5 inches in. So 5 inches here is where I'm going to cut mine. So somewhere here, 5 inches from the shoulder. So I'm going to mark a straight line across this way. And then I'm going to, on this straight line, I'm going to split it into 2. So guys, this is it here. So now I'm going to trace out my back panel. So all I have to do is this part, this piece here, since I'm trying to replicate this picture exactly. So this piece here is going to be Akara, which is the top part of this. I'm going to cut it out. Here, I'm going to go ahead now. I traced out 2 pieces for the, as you can see, it's also on a fold. 2 pieces, one for the back, one for the front. Also 2 pieces here, one for the back and one for the front. All of them are folded into 2. As you can see, the sides, they are all on a fold. So now the only difference here is that I added half an inch to join this back to this here and half an inch at this one. So once these 2 half an inch meet each other here, I'm going to have back my shirt, right? I'm going to have back my normal shirt once I join this. And then the next thing I have to do now is I'm going to remove all the pins. Guys, as you can see, I also added 1 more inch here because I figured I needed it longer. But if you're okay with the length you traced on your pattern paper, you don't have to add this here. This is just me making the shirt a little bit longer. So because my tracing paper was not long enough, but the only seam allowance you need here is just here and here, and nothing by the armhole. As you can see, I didn't add anything by the armhole. So now I'm going to remove one of this pattern here and then leave one also. So because the back is okay, but I need to separate it so that I can be able to trace out this piece here from the front armhole, trace out this piece here from the front armhole, and bring down the neckline in the front armhole, in the front neckline. So that's what I'm going to do now. So guys, this is my back panel. I'm going to set it aside. This is my front panel here. So what all I have to do now is just to go ahead and cut out this. Remember this armhole part here? I'm going to cut it out. This half an inch that we went in by for the armhole, just so that it can fit in, I'm going to cut that out. And then for the front here also, I'm going to remove that. So guys, this is done now. So all I have to do is to remove this here. I'm going to join this. So I'm going to open it up to the right side here, and then I'm going to take this one, the back panel, and join it together here. So once I join it, it will look something like this. The same thing for the front. I'm also going to join it. After joining it, then I will come back, split the back open so that I can be able to attach, so that I can be able to put in a button. So guys, because I want his head to be able to fit into the shirt, I split open the back by about 5 inches or so, or more than any amount you need. Because remember, the front is a high neckline, the back is also this way. If you want, you can split it open in front, put in a placket. Is also a different design if that is what you want. But this one here, I'm just going to make it have just a button at the top, at the back. So I'm going to just put this here this way, and then follow that line and sew it half an inch from this side, go down up, and then split it inside of this and tuck it in. So guys, after this now, this is what it looks like. I split it open, I cut this open now. So now I'm going to flip it inside. So once I tuck it in this way, it's going to be clean. So guys, you see this is done now. All you need to do is just to iron it out. So this is the back. I'm going to put like a loop on one side, button on one side. But at this point now, you can go ahead and join the shoulder together. So you see our shirt is coming together. So you're going to join the shoulder together. I'm going to join this together, and then I'm going to insert my sleeve. So guys, to cut the sleeve, I folded my fabric into 2. Make sure that the armhole that I used will fit in, which was 14 divided by 2 is 7. It fits in on this fold. This is the length I'm working with. So I want my sleeve to be about 6.5. I added 1.5 to it. 1 inch for folding the edge, half an inch for joining this top part here. So I'm going to just come down here by about 2.5 inches here, and then I'm going to connect it in a line from this edge to this edge here, and then I'm going to find halfway through this line. So the line is 8 inches. Halfway through this line is going to be 4. So on this line here, I'm going to just give it a curve below, and then I'm also going to give it a curve above, just like that. So now the next thing you have to do is just to insert your sleeve width. So the sleeve width I'm working with here is going to be about 9 inches. Divided by 2 is 4.5. So I'm going to add about 1 inch to it. So that's going to be 5.5. Mark that here and then connect it to this here. So this is going to be my sleeve. I'm going to cut this out, follow this line all the way to the top. So guys, as you can see, this is my sleeve here and I have two of them. So I'm going to go ahead and join it to the dress, close up the two sides and fold the edge. My shirt here, as you can see, I've inserted the sleeve, sew the side seam with the 1 inch of seam allowance that I left. So you see this side is done. So I just came up here by 3 inches because I want it to have a slit. And how you're going to do this slit is, once you sew it to where you want it to be, you double stitch it inside. So I double stitched it inside because I don't want this seam to come loose anytime soon. So what I'm going to do is, this 1 inch that I have here, I'm going to fold it inside of itself. Fold it here, sew it down, come across here, and then also fold this one towards this side. So fold this one towards this side, fold this one towards this side like this, and then sew it down just like that. That is how you're going to sew this side. Let me show you with this one. So you see, using that 1 inch of side seam allowance, I just came in here, folded this towards this side, tucked in the rough edge on this side. So you see it here, from the side seam I used it to fold it. So on the outside, this is what it's going to look like. So you just fold it that way. That's how you're going to fold and make this slit on the side. So I'm going to go back in now and use this 1 inch and finish up the side of this one, and it will be done. And if you look at the neckline, I've used bias to run through the neckline, and then at the back I added a loop. I added like a button loop here. So all I have to do is just sew down button on this side. Once he wears it, I'm going to button it here at the back. So this is it for the top part. So for the shorts now, all I have to do is just to fold my fabric into two like I've done here. And as you can see there, so guys, as you can see, the back of my pants fabric is 1 inch longer than the front. So you can do 1.5 depending on you and the age of the child. So this is because the back, you want the back a little longer normally than the front. So it's 1 inch longer. So what you're going to do here is, I folded my fabric. The fold I have here is just the hip measurement. The hip I'm working with is, so guys, the hip I'm working with is the same as the chest, which is 22. So I'm going to just divide the 22 by 4. I have 5.5. I added 2 inches, 1 inch for seam allowance, 1 inch for the ease, because I want it a little bit loose, just like the picture. And then I also have about 1.5 for the crotch area. So in total, what I have here is 9.5. Let me say it again. Divide the hip measurement you're working with by 4. Add 2 inches to it, and then add extra 1.5 to it. So in total, you're adding 3.5 inches to the width of this here. So that's what I have. So now what I'm going to do is just to go ahead and insert my hip measurement, which is this here. Insert the extra 2 inches, and then I have the 1.5 here, which is going to be my crotch. And then on this line, I'm going to take it up all the way. And then on this line here, you're going to check the crotch you're working with. I'm working with 7. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit further, because the crotch I'm working with is supposed to be 7 inches here. I want it a little bit loose. I don't want it too fitted here. So this is it here. I'm going to also go ahead and cut this part out. And then guys, from this 1 inch at the back that you came up with, you're going to blend it into the front. So with a straight ruler, you're going to connect it just like this. This is the front, right? But this here now, I'm going to connect it this way to the peak of the back here, because this is going to be the center back here. This one is the front. Center front is where you have your crotch. So I'm going to cut this out. So guys, now that I've cut this part out, all I have to do is just to split this open, because this I folded this into 2, so I'm just going to split it open. So guys, now that I've split it open, remember I'm going to have 2 pieces for the front and 2 pieces for the back. So all I have to do is just to join this here, and then join the 2 sides together. So guys, like you know, the front is 2 pieces and the back is also 2 pieces. So guys, you see I joined the crotch and then joined the 2 sides. So now I'm going to flip it inside out. If you want yours to have pocket, you can also go ahead and do that. I'm not going to be adding pocket to this here. I already have a video on how to add pocket to any style, so I'm going to insert that also. So you see the back is 1 inch longer than the front. So all I have to do now, depending on the size of elastic you're using, you can cut about 3.5. I'm going to, because I'm trying to manage the fabric, but I'm going to join this together and then make my casing for this, join this casing to this, pass my elastic inside of it, and fold the edge of this pant. So guys, I've made the casing. I'm just going to pass this elastic through it, fold the edge of my pant, and that will be it. If you don't understand how to complete the pant, I'm going to link a video, a detailed tutorial on how I made on how to make this kids pant with a pocket. So this also here is the shirt. This is the front of the shirt. Okay, so thank you guys so much for your time. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.